I never pass up a challenging colouring page when I'm in the mood for it, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my top challenging colouring pages ranked, and I've picked 8 pages to go through with you today. The definition of a challenging colouring page can vary between person to person, so these are the most challenging colouring pages according to me. Now, just because they're challenging does not mean that I don't enjoy the process and pick up lots of tips and tricks on the way. So let's go through them. Okay, so coming in at number 8 is Johanna Basford's Rooms of Wonder. So I coloured this shower scene. So I used mainly Prismacolor pencils, a little bit of Posca paint pen for this one, and I found it challenging because I was trying a lot of new shading techniques. So down with the leaves at the bottom here, and I think even with the texture, because I wanted to go for a concrete wall and to have something a little bit whimsical, a little bit magical, and I was trying to weave in all these different kind of colors into the concrete. So you can see a lot of the detail here just up under the leaves at the very top, all the shading. I think I colored this, maybe December last year. So at the time, this was the most intricate and complicated page. I think there was another one that's higher up in this list that I did that I had ever colored, and it really put me out on ledge, especially like I was saying with all the blending with the colors, some of the shading behind the leaves, and even the shower water effect. I found this really hard to conceptualize. I think once I had the idea in my head of what I wanted to do and I went ahead and did it, and I saw that it came out pretty well, then it seemed to become easy, if that makes sense. So I feel like sometimes the most challenging thing with these type of pages can be the conceptualization and the color choice. And also just trying to figure out how to color leaves in a different way, just not doing them all the same. Just trying to have an effect on them. So they've got like a bit of a streaky effect. And I think just because this page has so many details, and I'd seen so many amazing variations of this whole page done on Instagram, and I wanted to create something special without just recycling what someone else had done. And even these leaves up here. And I suppose just trying to tie in that much green as well without it just looking too same for one color. So that is number 8. Number 7 is from Mythic by Kerby Rosanes, and I have chosen the Iana page here. Now, this is ranked at number 7, mainly because of all the details in her hair and the background. I found it really tough in terms of patience and trying to evenly disperse all the colors. I had a lot of fun overall with this page. I had a lot of fun, but I did feel very challenged in trying to make a color palette work when there's so much to actually color, and to try and evenly disperse everything, and even with the tail down here, trying to use lots of oranges and reds and actually make it look cohesive. I film so many of these videos sharing with you how the difficult is not impossible, how we don't have to have fear when we're coloring these type of pages, that if you break it down, it is possible with a few creative tips and some strategies. While I really enjoy teaching these kinds of pages, they're a learning curve for me at the same time. It's funny how that works. So if we zoom in on some of the details here. So I think, yeah, all the little flowers, again, just dispersing all those colors evenly. The background, I find pencil backgrounds really tough. I think especially because of how, I try and layer them, and sometimes they layer perfectly, sometimes they don't. I had a bit of an issue with a bit of scratchiness in here, but overall I think it's come out fine. I'm not too worried about it. But I certainly found with this difficult page, this challenging page, that I learnt so much. There's certainly aspects of this page that I really enjoyed because I filmed a whole video on it, and I will link the video below. And so, yeah, I really feel, like I was saying before, I feel like tackling these kind of pages, it's kind of not doing it afraid, but it's looking at it and knowing what it's going to take and doing it anyway and having fun anyway. And I think that's kind of what I want to highlight about today's video as well, is while I'm ranking how difficult these are, they're my most satisfying and most enjoyable pages as well at the same time. It's so funny. The detail there. This was really fun and easy to complete for me. So I think that's why I've got it at 7, because it was challenging, but I wasn't feeling too emotionally drained afterwards. Okay, that is number 7. Okay, so coming in at number 6 is Johanna Basford's Secret Garden. Now, the page that I have done is this double page spread. So you could, I'm going to call it one page because it was one sitting. And this one, I found it difficult because this was the page that I really broke in my Prismacolor pencils and was using them for the first time. Now, I found this done on, it was Pinterest or Instagram, and I was looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, I can see so many of the colors, the Prismacolors there. So I'm going to try and recreate it as a bit of a challenge for myself to see how the Prismas work, how I could mush them together, etc., etc. And I think the original page that I'd drawn was different in the fact that there was so much more drawing, like they'd drawn extra stuff here. For the life of me, I don't know if I could find the original. It was so long ago. I think this was September or October of last year, but challenging in the way that I pretty much just had to eyeball all the colors and go through my brand new Prismacolor set and figure out just what on earth I was doing. I really enjoy those type of pages where you're trying to eyeball all the different colors and figure it out, and I was really happy with the results. And it was my first time coloring anything white, first time really adding any texture into things, first time blending your teals with your warmer greens. And sometimes I wonder, what would this look like if I did this page again? Would I do it the same? The entire thing was Prismacolor pencils apart from these gel pen bits around the flowers. And yeah, the background was entirely Prismacolor as well. And looking at my background, so the one prior, I'm really happy with this background. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, what was going through my mind? Like, how, I actually don't remember, but I'm very impressed with the texture of the background. And I'm wondering, how do I tap into that again? How do I tap into that again? I don't know. I need to find out, because I would love to redo this background. Just moving the page up for some detail. So, and I suppose, yeah, a whole bunch of us can find using new pencils for the first time extremely challenging. And I don't know, yeah, I could have picked an easier page, and I think if I had my time again, I probably would have, but I certainly don't regret this decision given the outcome and even just some of the detail. I think what helped me is that I just watched a Chris Cheng video potentially, and I just picked up some little tips and tricks as well. And the reason why I say that is because of the little bits that are coming out of the little dandelion thing. And yeah, I remember this just taking absolutely ages as well. So long. And it was helpful that this wasn't a complete image like this was, but it would be fun to recreate it. And I think sometimes finding an example of this, like whether it's been painted or colored or just finding something similar and trying to recreate it just with your eyes, is a really fun challenge. Because I didn't have a channel at this point, I don't think I was completing that many pages a month. So I really had the opportunity to slow down and focus on this page for a couple of weeks. Potentially, I might like to revisit that way of doing things. I think because for the channel, I'm trying to produce so many videos that sometimes I can forget to just slow down and do something like this. And so I suppose this was also challenging in the fact that I had to have a lot of patience. So yeah, that is number 6. Okay, going on to number 5 and 4, we've got Dream Voyage by Melpomeni, Chatzipanagiotou, and I'm going to mark this one as number 5 because this was the second page that I completed in this book, and I therefore didn't find it as challenging because I kind of knew what I was up for. And the first page we'll go through in a minute. So what was challenging about this page is, of course, the sheer amount of detail that was in here and finding a color palette that just wasn't all grey and trying to bring a bit of depth into it without it just looking too flat and grey and dark. And I think even just finding a color palette was really difficult. I often look on Pinterest for inspiration. I like looking at artwork because it actually helps bring some colors together. It was also challenging because I was throwing so many mediums at it and things that I, hadn't tried before. And I certainly think Neocolor 2 with water and how ripply this is and covering up a lot of black lines. And even with all the shadowing, trying to create some kind of moonlight where it was shining out on everything else and trying to make the page look like I was hoping it to look. So trying to get the shadows right, trying to have some kind of a difference between both of these unicorns. And I have had quite a few requests to actually break down this page and do a full page walkthrough with all the colors. I will do that. I just need to find everything that I've used and get it ready for you in some kind of order. Because I think I just listed all the colors down. It did take me a while, and I think, what have I used? So I've got alcohol markers here, we've got Neocolor 2s, I've used Artex acrylic markers, I've used Prismacolor pencils, I've used the Woomer pencils, I've used Toolyart paint pens, Ohuhu glitter markers, watercolor paint, Signo gel pens, other gel pens, just a sheer amount of craziness has gone in, and I've explored with lots of different types of techniques with everything. So, but again, challenging doesn't equal impossible, does it? And I am so satisfied with this page when I'm looking at it. I think the title of this video, ranking my most challenging coloring pages, I could either call it that or ranking my most favorite pages. There's so many of these pages that are my favorites were also the most challenging. And I think, so it's high risk, high reward, which is what I find is true for many of these coloring pages. And I found the sky super relaxing. As hard as it was to try and conceptualize it, I think I changed direction 50 million times before I actually landed on doing it like this. I was really happy with the results. So that is the first page from this book. The second page from this book, so I'd say this comes in at number 4, is this page here. Now, this comes in at number 4 because this was my first time coloring this book and this style and really going to town on all the colors and so many details. Now, this is a video up on the channel called Tame the Details. I actually think it's my most popular video. I mean, because it does look so challenging, and I think I'm really happy with the results. Again, I threw so many mediums at this. This was challenging because I changed direction so many times in my mind. I think the background here, this black was originally blue, and then I changed my decision. The water, I had just so many different things that I wanted to do with the water. I was really wanting to go with a Rita Berman style because I love that type of coloring. I'm still learning with all of that. And I think with all the gold detail as well, all the gold, all the flowers. So again, if you want to watch me do that and just explain my thought process behind it all as I'm coloring it, you can check out that video. I'm just looking at this stuff and thinking about how difficult is achievable. And how we can look at stuff and think, oh, there's no way I can do that. But once we break it down, once we actually pick up some strategies, I think I find this paper a little bit difficult. I didn't at first, I didn't really notice it because I think I was just so enraptured with the details that I didn't really pick up on the paper. And it wasn't until, maybe it was the other page that I just showed you. I was like, I don't know if I like the paper, but I'll keep coloring in it. We'll see, because I absolutely adore this book. So that definitely comes in at number 4 of the most challenging. Okay, the next one that I have to show you is Worlds Within Worlds. This comes in at number 3 of my most challenging pages. And of course we have the koi fish. This is also a full video up on the channel. This is a voiceover chatty tutorial video where I'm exploring creative concepts and how to actually break down these types of difficult pages. Now, this was difficult in terms of the waves. The fish were easy because the koi fish were easy because I had really easy art. I just knew that I wanted them to be orange. And picking the colors was okay from memory. but it was more applying the colors to the waves. And yes, I felt like once I got in a rhythm, it was fine, but it was more so the detail and the time and the concentration for me. And I think certainly applying all of the white acrylic paint pen, I think I used a Posca pen, and I actually think I like chewed through almost a whole pen, maybe, I think, or maybe like 2/3 of it at least. The Neocolor 2 was quite easy, so that's what the background is. That was fine. It was certainly just more in the waves and just making sure that I was blending between like figuring out what was fish and what was waves. And I'm certainly looking at it and I can see now that, you know, I could have changed a few things, but again, trying to balance like how much fish do you bring out? How do you make them both look balanced? Like I didn't want to give one a massive tail and one not a massive tail, because they're kind of like, see how they're kind of going like that way? Like it's like different. They're kind of symmetrical, but like, well, not symmetrical, they're like offsetting each other like that. So it's kind of like a balance. So I was trying to make like that kind of motion, if that makes sense, go a certain way. It's mainly just with all the details because it requires so much concentration and time. And I certainly remember after filming this page and then after doing the voiceover, I felt really drained. And so these next two pages that I'm going to show you probably are similar in the fact that I felt really drained after completing them, which is a huge indicator to me that they were challenging, because often with easier pages, I feel really peppy, feel really good after a page, but good indication for me if something's been hugely tough is how my mental health is after finishing. So that is Worlds Within Worlds. Okay, so coming in at number 2 is this fox page here. And there are quite a few things that I found challenging, but doable. Was, of course, the distress ink, because we've got such a large space to cover with the distress ink. And I had a bit of an issue with the masking fluid. I found it really difficult to apply it around the outlines because of how detailed we are. And I found it really difficult to pull off the paper, and I ripped a fair bit of the paper. I don't know if you can see, like I've just ripped heaps. And this is another video up on the channel too, but yeah, you can see how I've just ripped the paper. But I think after discussing with a whole bunch of people, I think I'd really just applied it too thickly, but I know for next time. And so I think just figuring out how to try and bring all the elements out and forward and try and identify what is where can be a tough thing. And I know that I found this tough, but I think I spent a lot of time on the distress ink, and I actually found the little characters in it challenging. Certainly at first, I'm like, I don't know what to color this with, I don't know. So these little guys, and we've got little ones up here, and let me point you to my favorite random rabbit that I put the question mark on, because I was like, I don't know, like what rabbit smiles like that? He's so creepy. And there's one down there. So obviously challenging again because of all the details. And I think after this one, I felt very drained as well, because again, after I filmed the voiceover and unpacking everything, and I think I just poured, like this page and the one prior, and I suppose all the pages, just pouring so much creative energy into the page because I was wanting to showcase it and share it and film it. So putting in 150% effort so that I could bring something to you guys that was cohesive and understandable and empowered viewers creatively, so that you can go ahead and make your own creative decisions. So those videos can be very, very challenging because they can become more personal. But I did have a lot of fun, and also challenging because of the amount of mediums that I've used. So we've got distress ink, Prismacolor pencils, I can see a Hoo glitter markers, I can see gel pen, some paint pen as well, or is this all gel pen? I actually think that the white is gel pen. But still, I had a lot of fun, as as much as I remember just feeling stressed, like when is this green going to be over? And I had fun, and I think we were able to fix up those mistakes from the masking fluid pretty well. So that's number 2. Okay, so number 1 is Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford, and the most difficult colouring page that I think I've ever done in my whole entire life, and I might still be recovering from it. This page here. Now, you guys most likely recognize this. If you're new to my channel, you may recognize it from another channel. If you're not new to my channel, you'd recognize this from me and also Chris Cheng. I followed a Chris Cheng tutorial from start to finish, and oh my gosh, I think I was feeling pretty great for like the first half of the bottom page, because her videos, there's 2 videos that cover this whole page, and I actually filmed a 2-part video series of me doing this, and I was talking about how I was feeling while I was coloring it. So feel free to check out that. I'll try to remember to link it. But yeah, so I reckon I was feeling good with the bottom parts until I started getting to the bricks. Then I was just like, oh no. And then here I just had, I had trouble. I mean, it looks great for me, and I'm really proud of myself and of the effort that it took, but oh my gosh, it was so hard. This was so hard to follow along, to get all the shading right, and to also, because sometimes she would skip bits because she'd already coloured them the same way, and so the challenge was to try and recreate it based on what she's just taught you, which I actually think is really good, but it was a real challenge. So this whole bit here, I had no idea. I had to eyeball that. Same with here, some of the pink down the bottom. And I definitely remember feeling just absolutely, I was so mentally drained. It actually took me a couple of weeks to get over it because it was hard. I mean, like I said, high risk, high reward, challenging page, high payoff, and I've learned so much from this page, and there's some techniques that I've brought over from this page into other pages. I also go back to her video constantly, and I look at how she does things like the castle, and just the way she layers and blends everything is amazing, and I've used the brick technique elsewhere, but just feeling like I just wanted to sleep for a week. I think because with the video, I was like, you know, playing it for like 2 seconds and pausing it. And then some areas I could like play it for 5 minutes and then catch up. But certainly I wasn't able to keep up with her. Like I had to play it and pause it and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, just phenomenal amount of effort, and definitely the most challenging one I've ever done. And certainly this was definitely when the overwhelm started to set in. But I wouldn't mind tackling more again soon. Yeah, definitely ranks at number 1. I'll never forget it, but I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy that I was able to achieve that. And so again, high risk, high reward. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys, in ranking my most top challenging coloring pages. I'm sure that if I did this again in 12 months time, we would probably have a whole new set of books to go through. So I hope this has given you some sort of inspiration to have a go at difficult colouring pages yourself. Like I was saying before, some of these I actually have filmed and they have their own videos where I deep dive into the process. Some I share the colour combinations, some I don't, because the ones that I don't leads more towards a creative side and the intuition and the process on how I pick the colours. So just bear that in mind. I'll link them below, but thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.